Eat meat, save the planet, guys. Regenerative agriculture. Okay, is Joe Rogan going to get crushed? Let's find out, guys. But first, got a couple other things to get, a couple other business to get through. So, first thing, a little more success stories. We got Carnivore Me. Hi, Sean. I started Carnivore 3 months ago, and I cannot express how amazing the change in my health has been. I have had anxiety since I was a child, always overthinking and processing everything. And although I was high functioning, it was exhausting using all the internal mind strategies to keep it under wraps. In my first day of going carnivore, the anxiety was gone. I had gotten home from work, and instead of overprocessing the day and having to calm my mind, I had nothing going on. I remember thinking, oh, well, this is boring. Now, after that first day, I never looked back, and I've lost a huge amount of weight. I no longer get bloated. I never emotionally eat, and I feel amazing. Thank you for advocating for this way of eating and being a voice of reason amongst so much nonsense in the world. Great job. Catches Raw Wisdom. I love your videos you're putting out, Sean. Yep, I did the fruitarian thing for 3 years. Stuffed me right up with a cascade of health problems. So glad I've left all that behind and have found a reversal of so many things through eating meat. Dud Pistachio. So glad I wasn't fully indoctrinated into veganism mentally. Once I saw my health declining after years of vegetables and grains, I went carnivore to repair the damage. I don't know why people can't listen to their bodies over all the vegan BS. All right, in other news, those wacky Japanese are breeding cows with zebra to make striped cows. Holy cow. Okay, that's not what's really going on. Actually, what they're doing is they're painting cows with stripes. And you're like, why the heck are they doing that? Well, the interesting thing is, apparently, zebras in the wild, what happens is on striped animals, insects, for some reason, have trouble landing, and they don't bite them as much. It cuts back on the insect bites by as much as 50%. A lot of insect-borne diseases are passed on to ruminant animals, and so the striped configuration prevents insect bites. Those things cost the cattle industry about $2 billion a year, so it's a pretty good thing. So what they did is they painted black stripes and then white stripes on cattle, and they found out that if they painted white stripes on cattle, they got less insect bites. So the Japanese are not forcing zebras and cows to have sex. All right, guys, so that is interesting. Speaking of cows, and I think this is really interesting data out here, and so the FAO is the organization that deals with livestock throughout the world. They have the data. They have the data that the vegans often misquote and misrepresent. But this is a new study looking at animal production, feed utilization. And remember, this is even grain-fed feedlot animals. We're not even talking about regenerative animals, which can save the planet. But let's talk about this. A new study by the FAO published in Global Food Security found that livestock rely primarily on forages, crop residues, and byproducts that are not edible to humans, and that certain production systems contribute directly to global food security as they produce more highly valuable nutrients for humans, such as proteins, than they consume. They upcycle. They make poor quality protein high quality protein, guys. I came to realize that the people are continually exposed to incorrect information about livestock and the environment that is repeated without being challenged. That's right, challenge that stuff. In particular about livestock feed, says Ann Motter, livestock development officer at the FAO. There is currently no official and complete international database on what livestock eat. This contributes to fill the gaps and provide peer-reviewed evidence to better inform policy and the public. This is talking about this new study. The study determines that 86% of livestock feed is not suitable for human consumption. They're not stealing your food, guys. If not consumed by livestock, crop residues and byproducts could quickly become an environmental burden as the human population grows and consumes more and more processed food. That's right, the animals are cleaning up your shit from your processed food diet, guys. Animals also consume food that could potentially be eaten by people. Grains account for 13% of global livestock dry matter intake. 13%, not the majority, like the vegans will tell you. Some previous studies often cited put the consumption of grain needed to raise 1 kilogram of beef between 6 kilograms and 20 kilograms. Contrary to these high estimates, this study found that the average of only 3 kilograms of cereals is needed to produce 1 kilogram of beef meat at a global level. Much less than the vegans will tell you. And it's low quality feed, remember, turning into high quality, human, bioavailable, highly appropriate protein, guys. It also shows important differences between production systems and species. For example, because they rely on grazing and forages, cattle need only 0.6 kilograms of protein from edible feed to produce 1 kilogram of protein in milk and meat, which is of higher nutritional quality. Cattle thus contribute directly to global food security. Turns shitty inedible food, low quality grain byproducts, and low quality inedible feed corn, not sweet corn, into high quality protein, guys. The study also investigated the type of land used to produce livestock feed. Results show that out of the 2.5 billion hectares needed, 77% are grasslands, with a large share of pasture that could not be converted to croplands and could therefore only be used for grazing animals. Livestock production is growing fast because the demand for animal products is rising, particularly in developing countries. FAO estimates that we need 70% more animal products by 2050 to feed the world. Therefore, the area of land needed to raise animals will also increase if feed conversion ratios are not further improved. Steps have already been taken through feed formulation, genetic selection, and better veterinary services to improve feed conversion ratios over the last 30 years. And improved, more efficient feed conversion will also reduce livestock's environmental footprint, but continue to progress if needed to make the system more sustainable. In addition, it is essential to improve the recycling of food waste and byproducts into livestock feed, as well as to increase feed crop yields. Animal production in its many forms plays an integral role in the food system, making use of marginal lands, turning co-products into edible goods, contributing to crop productivity, and thus turning edible crops into highly nutritious, protein-rich food, quantifying the land and biomass resource engaged in livestock production and the food output they generate, but also improving our modeling capacity by including trends in consumer preferences, shifts in animal species, climate change impacts, and industrial process to improve the human edibility of certain feed materials is arguably basic information needed as part of further research into the challenge of sustaining feeding 9.6 billion people in 2050, concluding the authors. This is not even including regenerative agriculture, which we now know can dramatically increase the productivity of the land. You can run more animals and you don't even need a feed system potentially. And so this is what we need to get behind. Remember, eat meat, save the planet, get behind regenerative agriculture. But this is more data that the vegans won't tell you guys. All right, a little bit more stuff. All right, moment you guys have been waiting for. All right, this is from Disinfect One. You are a lying piece of shit, man. You're killing people and innocent animals with your dishonesty. You're not a man by any means. You're here because the animal murder industries are paying to create confusion because their lies have been exposed out in the open. And they're on their way of losing billions, as well as all big pharma and dairy. It brings me great joy to see them fail. People are fucking outraged. Dude, people now can see and know what happens to the creator's children and promote these lies just for profit. You belong at a factory farm with the rest of the idiots. You guys are pretty close in mental capacity. Man, YouTube allows people to get on here and promote type 1 carcinogenic diet that causes acidity in the body and causes for certain heart disease and cancer, as well as the needless death of billions of animals and destruction of the biosphere. YouTube should be given some strikes. The amount of people who subscribe to you is a frightening indication of the de-evolution of our species. I have never wanted to crush someone as bad as I want to crush you, with the exception of Joe Rogan. Joe, I'm warning you, dude, this dude's crazy. I got a photo of the guy. Here he is right here. I hear on Wednesday evenings his mom lets him take out the Prius. He's got a whole collection of Kung Fu grip G.I. Joe dolls that he's been training with, man. So be careful, Joe. Just warning you. You guys check out Joe's episode with Chris Kresser on debunking the game changers. Great episode. Chris Kresser actually, and I talked about it before he went on the show, so glad to see he put some of the information that I was talking with him on the show. Check out my review of the game changers. Check out MeatRx.com if you or a loved one needs some help in implementing a carnivore diet, if you so choose to do so. Super affordable, great coaching product, great system to get in there. We are very proud of that, and if you want to be a coach and you're an experienced carnivore, check it out. Might be something you want to do. Make some spare change in your spare time, talking about what you love to anyway. Remember, guys, don't be a wacko zealot. Do what works right for your body. Meat can work very well. A meat-heavy diet without garbage and junk food is healthy. All right, guys, we'll talk to you in the next video.